Hello and welcome to Dose with Grace. I hope you're doing well and taking very good care of yourself. As you can see, I'm still um, trying to do this video very randomly because that's how the time and the facilities permit. But yes, today again I have something really nice to share with you, and here it is. It's actually a quote. So, before I really share the quote, let me ask you all. It's random question. Since my last video, since my last video, and in life in general, you have come across many different experiences with people, many interactions, and as those interactions you sit back and sometimes reflect upon, what is it that you find? Do you find a connect there? Do you find a common thread there? Or do you find a lot of versatility in those experiences? So what I mean is that in every interaction there is an intention, if not very obvious, sometimes very subtly. There is an action, and then every action sooner or later leads to a consequence. So with different types of interactions in our lives, with different types of people, sometimes intentional, sometimes unintentional, there are three or more than three factors involved though, but let me majorly put these as under three categories. Intention, because some interactions are very intentional, like my making this video is very intentional. I wanted to make a video, I was feeling like sharing this, so I felt I had something to share, and hence we have this video. The second part is the action, actually performing an act, actually picking up a phone and making this video, speaking my heart out to you. And third is the consequence, what effect this video will have on the listeners, on you, and eventually the after effects on me. How will it make me feel? What will it make me understand more about myself and life? So between the intention, action, and the consequence, there's something very beautiful, a quote my son shared with me, which was something that can be crystallized and made into the theme of today's video. And that is one of his maths teacher shared with him, and that was, you're free to choose your actions, but you're not free to choose from the consequence of your actions. I'll repeat it. You're free to choose your actions, but you're not free to choose from the consequences of your actions. That pretty much sums up the law of karma, something that pervades, and we all living beings are subjected to it, just because it's a law of nature. It is a law of existence. So many actions we do in a day. So let's talk about our own actions. Now, first we were speaking to the actions, the interactions that we have experienced since the last video I posted. But here let's talk about the actions we do, sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously. And let me put it very clearly here. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna has clearly said that inaction is impossible. Even when we are doing no action, the will to not do action is also an action. And inaction is also an action in itself. So there is no point in our life when we are not doing an action. We are always doing karma. And so we are always bound by this law of karma. However, where we are today in life, whether spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially, in all aspects of our life, where we are is a consequence of the actions and the intentions that we have performed and taken before. If we are happy where we are physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally, then possibly we have taken good actions, and therefore we had, as a result, good consequences. So, what should we do? We have to be very humble about it, because this is nothing to do with your current present state. It is to do with what we did before. However, the humility at this point, even if we are in a wonderful state in all these aspects, the humility will keep us grounded to continue doing the right actions, the good actions, and as a result we will have good set of consequences. And like the law says, you can't choose from the consequences. So when all consequences will be good, even if you don't have a choice, everything that happens to you or happens with you will always be positive. Now let's say two people perform the same action. And this is a question I posted to my son as we were discussing this point. And like I always say, I learn so much from my children. So I asked him, what if two people perform the same action? Let's say an action which is generally considered to be not a good action. For example, lying. At his age, I could think of this as a very good example. What if there are two people who have lied? Are they both going to face the same consequences? He said, not really. And I said, why? The law should be equal for everyone and it should be fair. He said, yes. The fairness of it only decides that it won't be the same consequences, not the same, exactly same consequences for both of them, because there are a lot of other factors that come into play. In our action, there is intention, there is circumstances, whether you had many choices but you still chose this, or there was actually, you were left with no choice, so you had to do this. And with what intention did you perform that action? So let's say the example was lying. Two people lie. Are they going to bear the same consequences? My son said, not necessarily. What if one had many choices, but he still chose to lie? And the other one was left with no choice but to lie. So he lied. Also, the intention behind that lie was to self-preserve or was to harm the other person. All that and a lot of other factors come into play, and that is what is called destiny. When we say these big things, destiny, free will, God's plan, it's actually broken down into simple things like what your choices are coming in front of you is probably a play of destiny because of the lot of work that you've done before. But what you choose to perform from that choices to participate in, to take an action on, that is definitely, there is a play of free will. And this play of free will, destiny, and the factors that weigh down how much you were in charge to make a different choice yet you didn't, and how much you were almost left with no choice, so you did, and the intention with which this choice was made, was the intention for a greater good, or at least not to harm someone, or was it behind some malice, some hurtful intention? All that comes into play when the consequences to that action come into play. And then, like that quote is, you're free to choose your actions, but you're not free to choose from the consequences of your actions. So, when we look at this interplay, very intricate, like a matrix, we realize consequences are never in our hands. And we put so much pressure on ourselves, talking, discussing, praising, and giving so much importance to results, which are basically consequences. And they're never in our hands. We can't even choose from our consequences, but we can definitely choose our actions. The simplest way to explain it is, imagine there is a cow and it is tied to a small piece of wood or a tree in a nice place where it's grazing. The nice grazing ground that she's on is given by the universe as a destiny. The rope with which she's tied is the life that she's living in this life, and the radius in which she can move is the radius of the free will. So she can move as much as she wants back and forth within that radius. But that free will is also a limit. The area around it is that rope is the destiny. That rope is the destiny with which that cow is tied to, and the tree with which that rope is twined is the substratum that holds all of us. Within that limited space of moving, she can graze, she can dance, she can sit, she can be sad, she can be happy, she can wallow, she can move, she can enjoy her life, she can look at nature and be happy. That's totally her free will. And that free will determine how she takes this radius as. Is she taking this radius as her paradise or her hell? But that rope will not be slightly longer if she's very happy. It will not become shorter if she cribs about it. Because that rope is the destiny. We are born with a certain destiny, and that destiny is also decided through our own karmas. And within that destiny, there is a free will. We can choose to be happy under all circumstances. When we know the rope is really not that big, everybody has the same amount of rope. There will be certain areas where the grass will be very fresh and green. There will be certain patches where the grass will be rough. And everyone will have in their 360-degree area radius, they will have all kinds of patches. Maybe right now you're on the rough patch. Who knows? You're seeing your friend, your family members, your colleagues, somebody else who you envy. Probably they are right now at a very, very bright, juicy green patch. But as they will roam around, they will also reach a rough patch someday. And one day you will reach a very juicy green patch. It's all play of destiny. Knowing that this is very little that we all have from the grand offer. Where is the competition? Where is the envy? We must celebrate wherever we are. Sometimes the rough patch means the greener patch is closer by, and sometimes the greener patch also gives us the humility that rough patch is not too far as well. So stay grounded, Stay grateful, stay in acceptance, be in reverence, and have this clarity that everything is an interplay of destiny, free will, intention, action, and consequences. The law of karma prevails upon all of us. With such a wonderful, beautiful understanding of this matrix, I thought I would love to share this thought with you as well. Do let me know in your comments what you think about this discussion. And until next time, I hope you choose your actions wisely, because clearly knowing these actions are going to lead to the consequences, those consequences that you may not be able to choose from. And so therefore you would love to have the consequences that are happy, positive, blissful, and peaceful. So keep your actions pure, keep your intentions pure, spread more love, be more kind, and don't compete, because there is enough for everyone in this world. We all are in the same radius, and God is very benevolent. There is a lot of green grass for everyone. Till then, we meet in the next video. Have a wonderful time. Take care of yourselves. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.